Yeah, here is supposed to be the analysis of the last 3 years papers in terms of 21, 20, and 19 with regard to the subject of botany. And you can see that the first unit, diversity in living world, costs about six questions with respect to 21, whereas for the 20 it is supposed to be 5 questions, and 2019 we are having 5 questions each. This is from the first unit. So first unit has a weightage of even on an average of 5 questions for the last 3 years. So the next slide, you can just observe that the morphology and anatomy unit, which some students actually have a habit of saying that, not even some, most of them, they say that it is supposed to be somewhat difficult. As an average of, say, 5 questions in the last 2 years, and on about 4 questions in the 2019 paper. So the reason why it becomes more difficult is the depth and also the memory part that is there in these two units. So that's why people feel that students feel that this particular unit is supposed to be somewhat difficult to actually get a grip over it. Going for the next slide, you can just observe that the masterclass unit in the first year, which makes the student to score better marks, according to me, is nothing but the cell structure and functions. You can see that nearly 12, in the sense 12, 10, 10, overall, it's not less than 8 questions are coming from this unit. So, and regularly this unit scores more marks because there are chapters which are supposed to be having fundamental questions here, and also you will have stock questions which gets repeated regularly. So this is one of the heart of the NEET paper, where you can find yourself getting more high scores due to preparation of this unit more appropriately. So cell structure and functions appears to be one of the forerunner in presenting itself more in the NEET paper in terms of the number of questions that are supposed to be observed in the recent NEET papers in the past 3 years. And I want to present you here one point that this is all a database talk, DBT, what they call. See, this data is supposed to be prepared according to the analysis that we have from the past 4 or 5 years. But we are presenting you due to the short time that we have. We are presenting you the analysis of the last 3 year papers, and the student should understand that this data is just portraying what amount of importance you should give to which unit in terms of time and preparation, and do try to make yourself more stronger and stronger in those units so that you can face the paper in a more appropriate manner and score a high level marks. Going for the next part, which comes to be the plant physiology. Recently, from the past 4 or 5 years, this unit is supposed to be gaining some amount of importance, because earlier, as I find before 2019, the other unit from the second year, sexual reproduction in flowering plants, actually started to gain, was more popular, because we used to get nearly 6 or 7 questions from the sexual reproduction in flowering plants unit. But today, the trend is like this, that this unit, which is supposed to be plant physiology from the past 3 years, you just observe we are getting 8, 9, 8 questions. So not less than 7 questions we are supposed to be getting here. That means this unit also, in terms of weightage, becomes the forerunner. So this completes our summation of the first year units in terms of the analysis. And here what I suggest you is to understand that weightage units in first year are nothing but technically speaking, one is supposed to be cell structure and functions, the other one is supposed to be plant physiology. These are the two forerunners in terms of the number of questions that they present within the paper. Now going to the second year part where the analysis continues. This was the unit. You can just see in the last 3 years, the number of questions that are coming from this unit are gradually going on decreasing. But as I promise you, if you see the analysis of the last 6, 7 years, you would observe that the number of questions that were appearing from these units, the sense of these chapters of this unit, They are much more than what you see in the last units. This is what is very important point that you need to understand. And the students also find this unit to be difficult, especially the second chapter, sexual reproduction in flowering plants, being more confusing with regard to the ploidy levels and also the methodology of conceptual nature where meiotic and mitotic divisions takes place and what could be the technical name. Sometimes they put a wrong option without having a clarity over the word and they find it to be difficult after seeing the key sheet that they have done a simple mistake. So this is one unit where conceptual part also plays a very important role. The next one comes to be the genetics and evolution. So in second year, the weightage unit comes to be this. There are two chapters in this. One is principles of inheritance and variation and the molecular basis of inheritance. So both are conceptual. And in the last 4 years, we have seen some numerical based questions in principles of inheritance, one which is regularly given in all other papers. So Mendel started his hybridization experiments in which year? So by seeing that question, some students go on asking that we have to by heart all the years or what? No, it's not the point. But they try some questions like that because to filter the candidates, that becomes one of the important points. And coming to molecular biology, students face a lot of problems on the concepts of transcription, translation, and lack of lactocron. These areas with regard to the enzymes and the process. So that gives a meaning that these two units have conceptual nature as well as some fundamentally by hearting concept. So therefore, coming to the number of questions you see in 2019, they are 7, whereas in 2020 they are 7 and 2021 they are supposed to be 9. That is one important one. Going for the next, we also have so can we continue?
Yes, sir. Just
so this is the next slide where you can just observe. This slide shows you, so actually it will just show you the number of questions that come in some of the easy chapters in the second year, which are somewhat by hearting. These two chapters, regularly the student has to go through these chapters once in every 3 days. One is the strategies for enhancement in food production, the other one is microbes in human welfare along with ecology. We have added that also because the number of questions that appear are very less. So you can just see that in this chapter also, this unit also nearly 5 questions do appear in 2021, taking the summation of three particular parts, that is strategies, microbes, and ecology. And here the student finds it difficult to remember the aspects of variety names, etc. So it's very, very important that you need to mention the point here that these chapters, such as strategies in enhancement in food products, microbes in human welfare, and ecology, should not be mixed with those conceptual topics. So we have to go with a separate one. The next one. Yeah, can we go to the next one?
yes, sir.
So according to me, after molecular biology and genetics unit, this is supposed to be the next unit, which has a weightage of nearly 8 questions in 2020, 5 questions in 2019, and 9 questions in 2021. So my dear students, you can just understand here that in second year, there are two major units which are supposed to be the forerunners in terms of the questions that they appear in the NEET paper. One unit is supposed to be the genetics and evolution unit. The second one is the biotechnology unit. And here, the basics of the unit are supposed to be questions. That means simple words like spooling, illusion. These are supposed to be given in the question papers. So it's very easy to answer once you actually enter into the question paper. But the point is you need to have a lot of clarity on the process of RDNA technology. Then you can just present yourself very easily while answering these questions. That's very, very important point. Then the next, see, you can just see the analysis of the last year's paper. So some of the students have an opinion that there is some difference in the number of questions that they appear from first year to second year. But here the margin of difference is not that much. And some of you may have a doubt now how 58 number is supposed to be written. The 58 number is supposed to be written considering the total number of questions or the chapters that we teach. Actually, according to NEET last year, there was a difference in the presentation of the paper. The paper earlier was under a brand name biology, but from the last year it started getting bifurcated into what in the sense botany and zoology. So some of the botany chapters like cell cycle, cell division, these are even biomolecules. They are supposed to be placed in the zoology part. So totally what I present here, even leaving those questions which have zoology themes from the botany part, we got nearly say 58 questions and 46% are from the class 12 and 53% are from the class 11. That's the difference. So we need to understand that there is almost equal weightage, a slight edge with respect to some first year syllabus, but you need to be strong enough even in the first year. That gives you a correct opinion if you see the next paper's analysis also. So let us go to the next analysis. This is the analysis of the 2020 paper. Here we got 48 questions. And now you can see here what was the total amount of percentage. So a lot of variation comes here. So that's the reason why your fundamentally the starting of the intermediate, when you choose BiPC, when you enter into BiPC, when you place yourself in the BiPC group, the point when you start, you need to be having a goal. From that day onwards, you should be very clear on what you're doing. Because you can see the number of questions, weightage wise, appearing in the question papers are more in first year than what in the sense second year. That's what is the difference. So 48 questions have appeared. The next one, the third analysis which we are presenting to you. See, this is how, this is one area where I will address it in a separate manner. But this area, you can just see the total amount of number of questions are 47. And here also you will get a percentage wise 38.3 and 55.3% from 12 and 11 classes respectively. And my dear students, now I'm just presenting you through Edgroom the analysis of the past 3 years papers. And for the past 3 years, you can just understand that there are 3 out of syllabus questions in the NEET paper, 3 out of syllabus questions. So one is the short arm and long arm that was appeared P and Q. The other one is the golden rice with respect to the genes that are introduced. And one question was on the centimorgon. So here I will address this out of NCRT part in a separate slide. But the percentage of out of NCRT questions, if you just observe yourself in the past 3 years, there were no out of NCRT questions in the past 2 years, but we have only NCRT out of NCRT questions in the 2019. So here I confine myself in telling that out of NCRT doesn't play a major role in seat getting part. Out of NCRT may be a point to limit yourself to score 180 out of 180, but even the at least one out of these 3 questions, if you can just get an answer, then you will be able to score 170. So out of NCRT doesn't play a big role in changing the fate of a medical aspirant in losing a seat. That's what I mean to actually have an opinion. The next one. So this is what we observed in the question paper. We present here the total types of questions that are supposed to be noticed in the question paper. You can just see what's going on in the last 2-3 years. The match the following questions that are coming in the question papers are how many in the sense in 2019 there are 3, in 2020 there are 6, in 2021 there are 10 match the following questions. So here I want everyone to understand that if you are answering a match the following question, you are not answering a single MCQ, but minimum you are answering 4 MCQs. 4 MCQs you are answering. So when you are answering 4 MCQs, you should be more careful to present yourself in a correct way. And you can see the number of correct incorrect statements, and this analysis will give you one more important point, that in 2019 you can see the correct incorrect statements question type number is how much, in the sense 11. You said you can just highlight the 11 number in 2019. At the same time in 2020 you can just see the correct incorrect number comes to be how much, in the sense 10. That gradually went on decreasing, and the number of questions in the form of match the following have gone increasing. So you need to understand that there is no scope in taking match the following questions as take it granted type. Most of you have an opinion that you check the two options, present yourself, and put the answer. Roman number one matches with A, Roman number two matches with B. Yes, I am correct. Therefore, you put the answer and go to the next. So that's not the way you present it. You should check until the last option. Then you could check whether you are putting the correct option or not, because answering one MCQ is equal to answering one match the following is equal to answering 4 MCQs. That's very, very important. And you can see from the past 3 years, there is no question of any diagram based questions to be appeared in the paper, and the numerical content is just one or two. That's what I suggest. But the MCQ questions are supposed to be more than 50%. 30, 30, 32, 33 type of questions are coming, which are straight MCQs. A single statement followed by 4 options. That's what.